Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show. Coming from right here in my quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined today all the way from Burbank, our technical producer, Mr. Jonathan Voico. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. Hello, everybody.
And
Happy Monday.
Coming to us a little bit further away, all the way out in New York. I don't know if that's the right way to say it or not. Christian Harloff's here, everybody. Christian, how you doing, sir?
Good. It isn't, but that's okay.
No,
it's good. It's good. It's good to have. It's good to be back, and I'm glad.
In my head canon, that's how it's said. It's my head canon, but it's totally
that's
wrong.
Like me saying, it's fun to be a boot. Everything.
A boot. Else. Yep. But that's just the perception of everything. Anyway, guys, most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how it's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, I'm going to take your live comments and questions. If you guys have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like me to address, as long as I deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and send it on in our super chat link. And you do have to be watching live in order to do that. The super chats are currently open. They won't be for long, but they are open right now. And you can send in a question if you want, and I will let you know when I'm about to turn those off. All right. Back from Comic-Con. Had a very, very good time. We obviously got back on Saturday in time to do our live stream about the Saturday Hall H presentation that we got from Marvel, of course, which brings us into our first issue today. Comic-Con Hall H had an absolute disaster. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. With what happened and everything that goes on. And of course, look, Hall H is of course where they do their biggest, highest profile stuff, like announcing Ghost Rider, right? That's where they do their big things, is in Hall H at Comic-Con. There is a problem though. Hall H can only hold 6,500 people. That will lead to some issues and some problems, which is why I've been saying for years, as much as I love San Diego, and then I go like 5-6 times a year just to hang out there for weekends, but they need to move Comic-Con out of San Diego. And let's get into why and what happened this time around. You might have seen some whispers going around and some rumblings online, like this post about the worst Hall H experience, because something went down at Hall H this weekend that I'd hate to say is predictable, and here we go. So first of all, let's take a look at what the Hall H situation is, okay? First, we got to set some context and some groundwork. First of all, you got to understand that the estimates that they just put out suggested that 135,000 people officially attended Comic-Con this year. Now, that doesn't even count all the people who come into town for Comic-Con without badges. Like, they just come to be around town and down in the gas lap districts, hang out around the convention center because there's a lot of other stuff going on too. So that's just 135 official people. Now, you also have to keep in mind that Hall H, where all the biggest, most major things happen, including the main event, the Marvel Hall H panel, it holds 6,500 people. That means that of all the people, badge holders, who went to Comic-Con this year, only 4.8% of those people would even have the chance to get in to see the main event, which is, of course, the Marvel Hall H. Now, not all 135,000 people that go to Comic-Con are interested in going in and see the Marvel panel, but I bet a lot of them are.
Yeah.
And they were. Now, just for context, and I've been saying this for years, right across the damn street, Christian, you've been there many, many times. You stick your head out the door of the convention center and oh, look, right across the street is a 40,000 seat baseball stadium. 40,000 seat baseball stadium that they hold events in all day. There's always Comic-Con stuff going on in that thing. I've never understood why you wouldn't move Hall H across the bloody street into a thing where you can get 7 to 8 times more people. But that is neither here nor there about this situation. Now, Understanding all that context, 135,000 people, only 4.8% can even go to the highlight of Comic-Con, which is, of course, this year, the Marvel Hall H panel. Here's the process of this clusterfuck you got to go through just to get in. First of all, you have to get in line on Friday night. And by the way, on the official website, they encourage you to camp out. They tell you you're not allowed to bring tents, but you are allowed to bring chairs and you are allowed to bring sleeping bags. That's nice. So you have to get in line on Friday night or much earlier Friday to get a wristband. Okay, that's step one. And you cannot get in on Saturday without that Friday wristband that you have to get. And a lot of people are reporting online that they stood in line for 10 to 15 hours just to get a wristband. We're not even talking about getting in line for Hall H yet. That's 10 to 15 hours. A bunch of people stood in line just to get, and I'm sure some people were shorter, but again, some people mentioning 10 to 15 hours in line. I want to point out, guys, Comic-Con is only a couple of days long. So you're, Gus from Pittsburgh, you've been saving up all year. You fly across the country to go to Comic-Con, and you already have to spend 1/3 of Comic-Con just standing in a line to get a wristband. So that's problematic in and of itself. So you stand in line for 10 to 15 hours for some people. Now, here's the way the system works. What they tell you is, if you get that wristband, then the next day you have to get in line again by 7:30 in the morning on Saturday. And they told people that if you go and get the wristband and then you come back and you're in the official line by 7:30 in the morning on Saturday, and by the way, the panel was at 5 o'clock or 5:30 p.m. Didn't start till 6. But if you're in line by 7:30 in the morning and you have your wristband, you are guaranteed a place in Hall H. Here is the problem. The lineup by 6 a.m., I saw people making video blogs about this. The lineup by 6 a.m. was already thousands of people deep. Like, these people recorded them getting to the line at 6 a.m. and like, oh, I guess we're not first in line. And then walking and walking and turning and walking and turning and walking and walking and walking. And then thousands of people deep, they get there. And here's the big problem. Over 500 people. This wasn't just a couple of people. Over 500 people who did exactly what they were told to do, went to the Friday night line, stood in there for 7, 10, 15 hours to get their wristband, got their wristband, were in the official line by 7:30 a.m. Over 500 people at the last minute, after standing in 2 different lines for maybe up to about 20 plus hours, were told at the last second, sorry, there's no room for you. Sorry. Sorry, Mary and Joseph, no room at the inn. You can't come in.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Eat it.
And then Comic-Con officials, I watched it this morning, did this little presser to address what happened. Not a single apology. It was just, their basic gist of it was, we're not sure what went wrong. They never offered the people who wasted 2 of their days at Comic-Con standing in lines, doing exactly what they were told to do. They never offered them free passes for next year, some way to make up for the egregious offense they just caused on these people. Nothing like that. And their only theory is they think maybe somebody was able to copy or what's the word I'm looking at? Not copy fit. When you make a fake.
Counterfeit.
Thank you.
Counterfeit the wristbands.
That they counterfeit. They think maybe some people counterfeited the wristbands.
Yeah. Someone had access to it and then told somebody who could make
Yeah,
them.
because they would have had to have known exactly what those wristbands looked like a week in advance.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. But whether that's true or not, I mean, this just highlights again to me the ridiculousness of the Hall H experience at Comic-Con. It's preposterous. And then on top of all that, and I got to listen, everybody knows I love Kevin Feige dearly. Love Kevin Feige. But, read the room, man. There are people who stood in lines for like up to 20 hours to get in to see your Marvel Hall H, and it was fucking 35 minutes long.
Yeah.
It might have been their shortest one on record ever.
We were
35 minutes long.
We were fully expecting just before it broke, that they were going to get into the phases. So not necessarily phases, but the lineup of movies coming.
Yeah.
Just give us a lineup of movies, even if you don't say what year they're coming out. Give us a lineup of what is coming.
I mean, I get they may not want to tip their hand until Secret Wars, but I mean, you literally had 90% of the cast of the movie there. Yeah. Like, hey, listen, I'm not saying they had to make more announcements. Listen, we got a scene from Spider-Man Brand New Day of Punisher and Spider-Man teaming up to fight Hulk. They got we'll talk about the Avengers Doomsday trailer a little bit later. We got Ghost Rider announced, the Ryan Gosling announcement, the Sean Levy announcement, the Dave Johnson announcement of Black Panther. I mean, there was a decent amount of announcements. But like, again, people stood in line for 20, 22, 24 hours between Friday and Saturday combined. And you give them a 35-minute panel. Listen, bring over James Marsden to talk for 2 minutes about what it means to him to be back in the X-Men costume again. Bring over Letitia Wright to say, you know, like after Chadwick's passing, is just, every day is an honor to be able to be on set to make another Black Panther.
A little more emotion to it.
Yes. Yeah. Make it a little bit more personal.
Well, you know? Question though too, John, and I don't know the answer to this. The answer might be, well, it's Marvel, so you know they can do what they want. But does that because they ran in a half an hour late, and is that because it's a Hall H Comic-Con issue of where they're absolutely, you know, and maybe they couldn't go any longer. Maybe that's the allotted time that they had. But again, it's Marvel, and you let them push. I don't know the logistics of what that could be.
That was the first thing that went into my head too. It's like, okay, so for those of you who don't know, we kind of mentioned it briefly, but their panel started a half hour late. Wasn't their fault. The panel prior to theirs was running late, and it may not have been their fault either, because you know the one from earlier in the day could have pushed everything off the schedule. But I've got
Marvel was the final panel that day.
Yeah, the final panel.
It was the final panel, but I still don't know what the deal is as far as, again, logistics of what they're. I mean, the answer is they probably could have pushed over. I just don't know, you know, maybe time schedules, things of how long you have people, press that you have to do afterwards, the commitments that you might have that you've already set up that the Marvel people have like directly afterwards, different things that because you know they do
the press lines.
They have an interview with so-and-so that's set up for this time, and that has to be set up at this time. And you could say, look, our panel ran longer, so everybody has to be pushed back in a half an hour, 45 minutes later. But I don't disagree with you. I think that it should have been a little longer. They should have maybe read the situation and said, what's going on out there? Well, these people have been sitting out there. Maybe they didn't know yet. Maybe they found out a little later on.
I mean, Marvel's done Hall H forever. They know what people go through to get into Hall H. And you know, that there might be part of that. So if I'm Kevin Feige, I'm thinking, you know what? Burge from JoeBlow.com can wait for his interview. By the way, I love Burge. I love Burge and I love Joe Blow. I'm just deciding to use him as an example. The press can wait. This is Marvel Hall H Comic-Con with 6,500 people in here, some of which stood in line for 10, 20 hours. We got to do this right. I just think you got to give them a little bit more. And when you have all those actors in there, like you've got plenty to, like, I'm sure people would love to hear from Paul Rudd. I'm sure people would love to hear a little bit from Anthony Mackie. I'm sure people would love to hear more from Chris Evans or whatever. Like, I'm not saying stretch it out artificially, but you got all these people there. Let them say a quick word to the fans.
They stood there and they took a selfie. And you know, if 10 of those actors gave like a minute and a half to 2 minutes, that's 20 minutes more padded.
Yeah.
You know,
again, if Marvel's Hall H panel was 30 minutes every year, then this is what you know to expect. But this was, I believe, the shortest one they've ever done under terrible circumstances. And again, I think most of the fault of this lies with Comic-Con itself. I think this is a organizational nightmare that, again, is, I'm going to say this again, is inevitable. I've been telling you for years, you're always going to get problems like this. When you have such a small town in such a small convention center, and I know you stand in front of San Diego Convention Center, it looks big. Compared to major metropolitan convention centers, it's small. It's literally 25% the size of the Las Vegas Convention Center in terms of square footage. and you have a room that your main event is in that only holds 6,500 people, and you have that represents less than 5% of your total attendees, and you are making people who travel across the country waste 2 of their 3 days there standing in lines for a 30-minute panel, it is on you to make sure this runs better. And they blew it. And I just don't know what else to say to it. Anyway, Christian, I hate being one of those guys that I'd rather be the guy who points out a problem and then offers some possible solutions. I have no solutions other than the ones I've been saying for years. Move this damn thing out of San Diego into a town that can handle it better. And I love San Diego. Or get Hall H into Petco. Or remember what Disney, Jonathan and I were talking about this beforehand, Christian. Remember what Disney did with D23 either last year or 2 years ago? Instead of having it in the Anaheim, their main event in the Anaheim Convention Center, they said, you know what? We've got a giant hockey arena in town. Yeah. Maybe we hold our big Marvel presentation in the giant hockey arena. Guess what? San Diego has arenas like that with much more seating than Hall H. Why not go? That's indoors.
Well, and you know what that would also, sorry, I was just saying, you know what that also could do is that it would kind of thin the crowd a little bit during the convention center itself, because everybody else would be going over there, and you'd be able to, because it gets so crowded and packed. It's so crowded. It's horrible. But I'll tell you, I think that the answer is a mixture of both of what you're saying, or maybe even 3, John. It's like I'm with you. I absolutely 100% think that San Diego cannot handle that size of convention anymore for those types of things, because when you look at what Comic-Con has been for at least since 2005, 2006, it's really become the marketing tool for studios at that time. Before then, when San Diego was really doing this con, it was a festival for fans, and it was a festival for comics. It was a festival for creators. It was a festival to meet certain people that were in things or whatever, shows and stuff. And you could sustain that. But when you start making it this market big show thing that all the studios are going to, you're looking at the coming off of like an Endgame. Yes, I know there have been a lot of movies after that, but Endgame was a $2.8 billion movie that it did, or 2.9 in the theater, one of the biggest movies of all time that has a huge audience. And this is essentially a sequel to that. So of course that audience and the people that build back up and all this cast, everybody's going to want to see it. So I think that the fix is, and San Diego doesn't want to do this, because you can't just outright not have a convention anymore because of the revenue it brings into the town, right? So that's one part of it. But what they don't want to do, what they should do, is scale back and don't have the big marketing tools. This is a studio thing too. The studios should move to another convention, because Comic-Con's not going to make that decision. They're going to take it for as long as they can. The studios need to move and go somewhere else, because the studios don't want to keep pissing off their fans this way. Comic-Con, we'll take 1 million people. Why not? Bring them in. San Diego's not gonna ever fight it, but they have to move it. The studios have to say, no, we don't want to do it here anymore. We're going to go somewhere else. That's what should happen. And then Comic-Con San Diego can go back to being a regular convention that it used to be back in the day, the way these other WonderCon and other places do it.
Here's another potential solution. There's like 50 meeting rooms and ballrooms in that convention center. What about when DC or Marvel, or if another year happens where Star Wars, whatever, does their big Hall H presentation, take your 15 biggest halls and ballrooms and say, while that Hall H panel is going on, we will also open up another 7,000 seats in these ballrooms, and we'll close circuit the broadcast into those rooms so you can watch it live in those rooms too. Again, there's a lot of possibilities here. And I'm sorry, I'm done cutting the organizers of Comic-Con any slack on this. They've had 15 years of seeing this building problem, and they've done jack shit all. Every year they say they're going to address it, and every year it looks the fucking same. And it's just, and I only get upset by it because Comic-Con is a glorious, wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I feel like they are stunting it by doing that. Anyway, guys, I know we've gone overtime on this. My apologies for that. But question is for you. What do you think about this? Hundreds of people who did exactly what they were told to do, stood in like 20 hours worth of lines and never got in to see Hall H. It's just an inevitable consequence of the building problems we've been talking about for years about this place. Anyway, guys, whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, obviously, we talked a lot on Saturday about they announced Ghost Rider, the rumors that were around like 6 months ago that Ryan Gosling was going to play Ghost Rider came to fruition. And then I think the big cherry on top special surprise of it was that Sean Levy was going to come on board to direct, who, by the way, directed the only other Marvel R-rated film and directed it to $1.3 billion at the box office, the highest grossing R-rated film in cinematic history with Deadpool and Wolverine. Worked out pretty well. And of course, Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy are working together on Star Wars Starfighter, set to come out next year. This, to me, I said this on our live stream, was very exciting. Because I said, Disney and Marvel must love Starfighter if they're going like, oh, let's just get Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling to keep working together and let's put them on this Marvel movie. Now, that doesn't mean that it will be great, but it must mean they think it's great. It has to. And Kevin Feige must think it's great too. Well, in an interview that Kevin Feige then did after the Hall H presentation, Kevin Feige said to an interviewer straight up, he goes, I love Star Wars. Like I said on stage, I might even be a bigger Star Wars nerd than I am a Marvel nerd. He said, I've seen this movie, and he just looked at the camera and straight up said, it's awesome. It's awesome. Now, normally, if you wanted to have a little bit of healthy skepticism, normally you would go, oh, wow, employee of studio says another one of the studio's movies is really good. Water is wet. Kel Supri. Understandable. But again, remember, Kevin Feige saw it and was like, I need this pair to make a movie together in Marvel. And that to me gives a lot of legitimacy to what he was saying. And Christian, you know, we've known for a lot of years that Feige is a huge Star Wars guy.
Oh, yeah.
He loves Star Wars. I've speculated, a lot of people speculate that maybe at some point, maybe he heads up Lucasfilm, although that would just be a lateral move for him. But I was very excited when they said Sean Levy, because I think he'll do a great job with Ghost Rider. But I was especially more excited for Starfighter, because clearly Kevin Feige does like what he saw, and he's saying he thinks it's fantastic. Anyway, as a similarly massive Star Wars fanatic, what did you take away from this, and what do you think about what Kevin Feige is saying?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to the fact that, you know, he probably saw it. Look, he also probably had a good experience working with him on Deadpool and Wolverine. It was easier enough to work with him again. And when that pitch came in, now what I will say, and I've been saying this, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that Josh Horowitz has not gotten enough credit for putting he essentially put this casting together. He asked Gosling about this a long time ago, and that was the interview that Feige, then he approached Feige about it, and he was like negotiating the deal as if he was an agent. And then they finally put the whole thing together. But
maybe he gets points.
That's what I was saying. But the reason I bring that up is because those conversations were had way before Starfighter even started shooting, with the goofing about, I really want to do it, and how big of a fan he was. And then if Gosling and Levy get along as well as it looks like they do on the set, those Ghost Rider conversations were probably having more and more and more. And because of Levy's relationship with Feige, you could see them saying, well, let's have that conversation more. I know that it's been out there before. We've talked about it. And then, well, let's see what you guys are working on with Starfighter. And holy shit, this is awesome. You know, like that's probably because he is a Star Wars fan. Now, I think that there also is, you do have to go, well, yeah, he's going to say that it's great because he wants to instill confidence in the fans. Because if you look at the reverse, you know, we've seen that happen with Lucasfilm. Oh yeah, Colin Trevorrow made $1 billion on Jurassic World. Let's do it. Then they saw that the Book of Henry, and like, you're fired. And then it's like, then you look at, then they've done that before. Ryan Johnson. Oh yeah, we love what you did with Last Jedi. Here's a trilogy. And then the fans go, well, some fans love it, some fans hate it, and say it's the worst thing that ever happened to Star Wars. No, thank you. We're not going to do that trilogy anymore. So it's like, that's Lucasfilm. They haven't been great in that area. So Marvel hasn't traditionally done that. They've had confidence in what they're doing. But I think that, yes, I think that you should have some confidence in Starfighter with that, because it looks like, he is a Star Wars fan, and I don't, but the question is, what has he liked recently? That's what I want to know. You don't really get if he's
Gauge
out there,
his palate,
right? If he's out there talking about certain things that have not been great in the Star Wars world, then I would question his what is he comparing it to?
Well, at least it's good to know that he liked it enough that he wanted to put this team together.
Oh, can I give you credit for a second on speaking of Star Wars?
What did I do?
No, I'm going to give you credit on some. No, because I've been doing these Star Wars reactions on my channel. My friend Sam, she had never seen Star Wars before ever, and we're watching it in this really strange order that I'll explain to you some other time. But we were getting into Obi-Wan. I don't want to watch the series. I just didn't want to watch the series. And I did a research on it. I saw you talking about the Kai Patterson cut.
The edit, right?
And there was certain little things that you said about the cut, about the edits. I was like, okay, maybe I show that to her. Dude, I'll never watch that. I'll watch that. It's like a really good movie.
I'll never watch it on Disney Plus
ever
again.
Not
after watching that cut.
He took it and turned it into an actual, like the stuff where we always said, like, oh, there was an actual movie and there's an actual show and he took the stuff that actually could be good and he made it good. It's good. Like, I hate the show.
You didn't want to watch the pointless cutaways during the Vader Obi-Wan fight? I thought.
Oh, dude, I was completely missing the Benny Hill scene.
Watching Reba McEntire check boxes while they're fighting.
Oh yeah. So no, but thank you for I saw your piece on that, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go and check it out, and it was great.
There's I'm not gonna say it made Obi-Wan great, but there is an enjoyable movie in there to watch because of that. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Kevin Feige has seen Star Wars Starfighter and said it's awesome. And to back up that he's not just towing the company line, he actually went out and got the team that made it to come and make the new Marvel movie with Ghost Rider. Anyway, does that give you more confidence in Starfighter? I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Well, the Odyssey just keeps dominating. There is a small vocal crowd of whiners out there cheering and hoping that the movie would fail and trying somehow in every way. Oh, the studio is buying the movie tickets. Oh, they're lying. Well, whatever. Of course, we saw that the opening weekend for the Odyssey was just record-shattering on a number of different levels. But the question was that I openly was a little bit skeptical about leading into it was, what would its second week be like? Sure, you sell all these tickets for the Odyssey a year in advance, and you get that big hype for the opening of the Odyssey. That's great. How is it going to look on its second weekend after all those people went to go see it? Because just sold out IMAX screens won't cut it. You got to get people into the other theaters as well if you're going to make any kind of a splash. Well, consider my skepticism unfounded, because the Odyssey, without hyperbole, just had one of the greatest second weekends in film history. It made $87 million. By the way, these are the estimated numbers. I'm seeing some reports, I'll wait till later in the day to say this for sure, saying that it was actually $90 million. But we'll go with the 87 for now just to be conservative, okay? That means this movie took a 29.6% drop. To put that in context, every movie, generally speaking, you wanted to see come between a 50 and a 60% drop on its second weekend. Any less than 50%, you're popping bottles. Any more than 60, you're a little bit concerned. And the problem is that the bigger your movie opens, the more of a drop it can take, because that means a lot of people already saw it. You guys remember, I think it was Spider-Man No Way Home. it had like a 70% drop on its second weekend. But that was just because like almost $300 million, over $200 million worth of people went to go see it on its opening weekend.
Saw it.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it. So it's not that the movie was a disaster by any stretch, but it just took a little bit of a bigger drop. That's fine. The Odyssey opened over $100 million and it took a 29% drop. To put that into bigger context, the Odyssey is now only the third film in cinematic history to open to over $100 million and drop below 30% on its second weekend. Only 3 films in the history of the industry have ever done that. Wicked did it most recently in 2024, 3 years ago. It opened to 112.5. Second weekend was 81.2, representing a 27.9% drop. Top Gun Maverick did it back in 2022, opened to $126.7 million. Second weekend, $90 million for just a 28.9% drop. And now the Odyssey, with these projected conservative numbers of $87 million on its second weekend at a 29.6% drop. And on top of that, forget films that just opened to over $100 million. As of right now, the Odyssey has just had the 13th biggest box office second weekend in the history of the industry. Like for movies that open to over 100 million, under 100 million, whatever, 13th biggest in history. But again, only a 29.6% drop from weekend 1 to weekend 2. To say that is practically unheard of is not an exaggeration. Again, in the history of cinema, it's only happened 2 other times. And if the actuals come in and that is about $90 million, you could see the Odyssey actually jump up into second place, beating out even Top Gun Maverick. As of right now, after just its second weekend, the Odyssey's made about $640 million worldwide after just its second weekend. So normally that would mean the movie's already profitable, but guys, you know that there's an asterisk on that one with the Odyssey. The Odyssey needs to make more money than most other movies do because of the Christopher Nolan, Emma Thompson tax. Christopher and Emma get 20% gross of the movie, which pushes its break-even point significantly higher. So it still needs to make a couple $100 million just to break even, but that's what it is. Again, though, this is historic. This is a historic second weekend for this film. Christian, let me ask you this. You know, what is it about the Odyssey? It had a huge opening. It's not like only $30 million worth of people saw it on week 1, so a small drop in week 2 isn't a big deal. A lot of people went to go see it. Clearly, some people are going back for multiple viewings to only have this kind of a drop. Clearly, word of mouth is getting out there, so people are getting out there to see it. What is it about this movie in particular, or Nolan in general, that has that, for lack of a better term, stickiness factor that just has people going back again and again and again like this? What do you attribute it to?
Well, you said it. It's an event film. And when event films happen and people really want to, you see, and it's outside of the superhero and sci-fi genre, that opens it up to a bunch of different people. It's based off something that we all read in high school, and it's something that people are familiar with. It has big, huge movie stars in it. It's got if you can hit with, it's not always easy to hit with an epic, because epics have tried, and there's been tons of epics that have failed.
True.
If you hit with an epic can really, really work. But the other thing that you had said is that it's the word of mouth. It's the buzz with not just the people in our space and people that that are watching this show now, or that are in it, and like look at, like, I used an example for sports. Not everybody's a sports fan, but a lot of people watched the Knicks this year because it was that buzz, and it was an event, and it was a thing people were talking about, like what's going on. And that's kind of what happened with this one. I have a friend, his wife hasn't been to the movies in 10 years, hasn't been to the theater. 10 years. Broke the streak with the Odyssey because it was one of those things that people just want to see what this is about, this buzz, the idea of like and there's a reason why Gladiator hit, and the Swords and Sandals, if done well, can really, really hit with audiences, and it did. And it's also what it is about Christopher Nolan is he's the rock star right now. He's the guy. And I can't remember if I can't remember who said it. It might but it was last week. I think it was Roca, but he said he's kind of the Spielberg of today. It's like meaning the Spielberg of where when he had those events, E.T. lines around the block and Raiders comes out and people can't wait to see it. That's what he's doing right now. And there's very few people, just regular civilians, that know directors' names. They know Nolan's name.
Yeah. Did you guys see? I can't remember if I've talked about this on the show before. Did you see that interview? Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson have got a movie that they just had out recently.
I've seen
this. Interview? For those of you who didn't see this interview, it's priceless because it's one of these promotional pieces where they're interviewing each other, right? Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. And Robert Pattinson's like, what director have you not worked with that you'd love to work with? And Jennifer Lawrence is like, well, he's never asked me to be in anything. And Pattinson's who? She goes, Christopher Nolan. And Pattinson goes, yeah, he's pretty good. And Jennifer Lawrence's response is priceless. She's like, must be nice.
Yeah,
tell him I say hi. I mean, like, you're right, Christian. Like, everybody, like, every actor is lining up. You watched Wonder Man, Christian? Did you see Wonder Man?
I did watch Wonder Man, yeah.
Okay, so you know the director in Wonder Man that's like, oh, like the whole industry reveres him and everybody.
Yes,
that's basically Christopher
100%.
Nolan today.
Yes, because people are taking pay cuts just to work with him, right? Because it's like that's the thing is that that's why his budgets, you can spend it all in the IMAX cameras and everything else too, because someone who normally costs $10 million will do it for $100,000. Is because there's like, well, you know what? They're going to get somebody else then if you don't want to do it. You get a chance to work with Nolan. That is something that, people will do. Jennifer Lawrence will absolutely take a massive pay cut to work with Nolan, and she should. Most people will and would. Not everybody will. Certain people are going to have their prices and other things too. Especially like Matt Damon shouldn't have to take a cut. He's the lead of the movie and has to spend a lot of time in there. He should get his normal asking price. But if you're going to start packing up, he's got the benefit to say, I have all these roles that a lot of other directors would maybe get really talented people, but maybe not as well known. You can get the cast is crazy with who you got. You got two of the bigger, younger actors with Zendaya and Tom Holland. You've got Anne Hathaway. You've got, Matt Damon. You've got Pattinson. You got Charlize Theron. You have all these people that just want to work with him, and that helps when you're making these movies. And why he has that deal with his wife, because like this is what I bring to the table. And who's arguing that 20%? I'm not.
He also tends to reward those actors over time.
Yes.
Because you'll get the parts, and then next thing you know, you're the lead in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
So
right.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what happened there. That's exactly what happened with Matt Damon. Hey, play a small supporting role in Oppenheimer,
I'll
and
hook you up.
Now you're Odysseus. Yeah. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The Odyssey is just shattering records left and right. It's just become the third film in cinematic history to open to over $100 million and yet take less than a 30% drop on its second weekend. The staying power of this movie is insane. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, this actually came out a few days ago, but I was off at Comic-Con in San Diego. We didn't have a chance to do it, but the next trailer for Lanterns came out. Now, I've been very excited about Lanterns because the way they describe it as a true detective in the DC universe, that sounds fascinating to me. The cast is incredible, so I was really excited about that. I love the showrunners behind it, so that was good. And then they dropped the first trailer, and I thought the first trailer was solid. I thought it was really good. I thought it was good. But oh my goodness, they dropped a second trailer. They dropped the new trailer at Comic-Con. And holy crap. Guys, I know this is recency bias. I know it is. So just bear with me and cut me some slack here. Maybe I'll come back and say something different in a couple of weeks. But I honestly might think this may be the best trailer this new iteration of DC has ever put out. Like if you count all the trailers for Superman, all the trailers for Supergirl, all the trailers for Peacemaker, all the trailers for, but damn, that Clayface trailer was really damn good too. But I think this might be the best trailer the new DC has put out. And, you know, I was talking to Jonathan before we started. It's like when they said this is going to be True Detective, but in a DC universe, I could see glimpses of that in the first trailer. It's like, okay, I see it. But this trailer is the one that really drove it home. Like it really does feel like True Detective season 5. And I say that in all the best way possible. I thought it looked great. I love the dynamic between the two leads. I love that it is there's a lot of animosity there. I love that one line that he says when he says, it's always been my ring. He's just been keeping it warm for me.
I have a feeling he's going to have a bit of a humility check because of that within the story.
Oh, I totally believe it. Because Christian, do you ever see Any Given Sunday?
Of course.
You know what I feel like? I got Any Given Sunday vibes because you remember near the end of the film, I think it's Jamie Foxx plays the young hotshot quarterback.
Yeah.
At the end, he doesn't start the game, but the old veteran starts the game. Yeah. And he says this great line. He says, I learned more about playing quarterback in watching one half of football than I have in my entire life. I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. And I have a feeling that in Lanterns, we're going to get something like that. That somewhere along the lines, we're going to get Stewart's going like, now I actually know what it means to be a Green Lantern because of this guy. I thought it was great. I love that conversation with Sinestro when he's like, you know, he's not your backup. Say it. Right. Say it. Yeah. He's my replacement. I also love the display of power because they're doing the funny little things like manifesting a bottle opener, but at the same time, he's just so nonchalantly standing in that bar surrounded by guys with guns. And he's just like, turns on his shield and he doesn't even look troubled. He's just like, yeah, whatever. You guys are nothing to me. And then of course,
he's been through it.
Yeah. He's seen it all. Yeah. And then mentioning Manhunters. That was not on my bingo card. Mentioning the Manhunters was absolutely not on my bingo card. So, and saying all these murder victims, we're going to find out these guys are alien. And then of course the Nathan Fillion cameo in it is perfect. I thought the visual effects looked great. I'll tell you what, I've been excited for this Lanterns show. I really have been, but this has put it over the edge. Now look, we've all seen fabulous trailers to things that ended up sucking. And maybe this is the next installment of that. Maybe. But I'll tell you what, the two upcoming projects from the DCU, this and Clayface, hopefully it'll be enough to wipe the bad taste of Supergirl out of my mouth. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, Christian, you had a chance to see the trailer for Lanterns a few days ago. What was your takeaway from it?
See, people don't like when I say this too, because it's like, we went through this already and it didn't work out. I like the darker, kind of more realistic stuff that they do in DC. I think that stuff plays. I think there's a reason why, you know, you look at the Batman that hit, everyone's looking forward to the Batman 2. The Man of Steel to me is a better movie than this recent Superman. I think that, you know, there's these things that are coming up in general, these tones, like you said, Clayface to me looked like one of the best things that I've seen them do so far.
So good.
Looks so good. And I like this type of trailer where it's a little bit more, and yes, granted, you're getting some of the stuff that you got in Superman, the Guy Gardner and things too, but the trailer did, because I didn't mind the first trailer like you, and then they had that little second kind of teaser thing to show, don't worry about it, there is going to be the mystical stuff too, here's the suits, here's everything, don't worry, everyone thought there was going to be none of that in there. This was a combination of both, saying, look, this is what the whole I mean, honestly, they should have gotten a lot of excitement for the show and released something like this immediately, is what they should have done. What makes me nervous is that they're dropping it all at once. That makes me nervous. Week to week, I still think is the way to go. And when it comes to, I'm against, I used to love the idea of the binge thing, just for selfishly wanted to watch it. I think it to help build your show and marketing, because there's so much stuff on television. There's so much to watch in the theater. There's so much on YouTube and everywhere else too, that you want to keep it in the conversation. And the fact that they're dropping it all at once is like, no, watch everything we got right now. Watch it now. So you're still talking about it.
I had not heard this. I did not hear that they're dropping it all at once.
Especially for HBO doing this. That's depressing.
That's practically unheard of for HBO.
Am I wrong? That's what I thought that I thought.
I'm going to look it up.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I haven't heard that.
I had heard it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I had heard that they were dropping it all at once, but
Jonathan,
maybe
can you confirm that?
Yeah,
can you look into that?
Because
Jonathan,
I
agree with you 100%.
Tell me I'm wrong. I want to be wrong.
I agree with you 100%. Like, look, it's been proven. It's not a matter of opinion anymore. The data has shown it and the numbers have shown it and backed it up. Week to week, if you have a good show, week to week is absolutely the best way to present your series. And to drop it all at once actually tells me, especially since HBO doesn't do this normally,
right. That means
it might suggest a lack of confidence.
Yeah. So I hope I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know why I heard that or thought I heard that.
Anyway, Jonathan, have you found out anything?
I'm seeing something here, but I can't, I don't know if it's official, but the 8 series will premiere and stream on Max starting August 16th. It will release weekly through October 4th.
Okay, good. So maybe I'm wrong. So I don't know where I read that. So then good. So then if that's the case, then strike that from the record.
So October 4th, and then that's awesome because that puts us right near Marvel's Vision Quest, like a week later. That's awesome.
Oh, that would be great timing. Okay, so maybe we've dodged a bullet on that. Maybe it is not being dropped. Because that would be very concerning to me if they dropped it all at once.
That's why when I heard that, because I was so confused about it. Because you know what it was? I had gotten, because I'm gonna be looking at them on my channel. I had gotten screeners, and I was like, well, when do they come out? Should I do it weekly? Should I drop it all at once? And from whatever I read, it said all at once. So
again, it is going around on Reddit, but
that is coming out all at once.
But what I'm seeing over here is that it's weekly.
So there's no official announcement though.
Okay. Well, I'll have to email some people I know at Warner Brothers and see. Maybe you should do the same, Christian, and see what's going on about that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this newest trailer that came out of Comic-Con of Lanterns? Look, we certainly don't know for a fact whether the show is going to be great or not. But if we're just talking about the trailer I thought was pretty spectacular. I absolutely loved it. Maybe it'll deliver, maybe it won't. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Well, the latest chapter of the Odyssey known as Coyote versus Acme has just arrived. As you guys know, they dropped a new trailer at Comic-Con. And if you saw me talking about it the other day, I think we were talking with Sean about it, maybe either Sean or with 3C, but I could not believe how much I love that trailer. Like I've always been curious about it because I've heard it's good, but I didn't think the first trailer was all that great. This new trailer, I thought chef's kiss. I just laughed my ass off at it. I thought it looked great. Well, audiences got to see it at Comic-Con this week. And now we are getting the first official reactions to Coyote versus Acme. And let's take a look at some of them here, shall we? Steve wrote, I got to see Coyote versus Acme and can finally say it's a delightful film that deserves to be seen on the big screen. It's hilarious, damning, and inventive in ways we've not seen since the likes of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Andrew Salazar wrote, I can finally say that Coyote versus Acme is a pure delight. I like hearing that. Is a pure delight, genuinely clever, full of heart. It stands firmly next to Roger Rabbit as one of the best live action animated hybrid comedies. Zach Pope wrote, Coyote vs. Acme is easily the best Looney Tunes. The fact that this almost never saw the light of day is absolutely mind-blowing. Packed with heart, humor, and overflowing with love, but beneath all the laughs is a powerful message about corporatism. Can't wait to see it again. And it went on. I read a bunch of reviews from a bunch of different people talking about it, and everybody seemed to really love this film. Now, here's the thing. Unlike the the Batgirl situation, where Warner Brothers, of course, decided not to release Batgirl, a decision that I ultimately think was the right decision. I made an entire editorial about that. But that one, they always just said right up straight, the movie's terrible. We can't release this. It's just simply, we can't. We cannot release this. So there was that. There was never that sentiment about Coyote versus Acme. Warner Brothers never said they didn't think the movie was good. As a matter of fact, even internally at Warner Brothers, they did think the movie was good. So why didn't they release it? Well, the reason they didn't release it was because they didn't think it could make them any money. They thought ultimately releasing it in theaters would end up costing them more money to release it than it would make. And the reason they felt that way isn't unfounded. When you look at the last Looney Tunes movie, which was The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, it was a good film. It was good. Look at these reviews. It's got an 86% critic score, 88% audience score, which is very respectable. You know, it was a good film. Here's the problem. Nobody went to go see it.
Plus, Nolan got 20% of that.
With good reviews, with good audience reaction, with good critic scores, and it had a wide release. It made $15.4 million. And yes, after you make the movie, it costs more than $15.4 million to actually distribute it to theaters around the world and mount a marketing campaign for it. So ultimately, that was Warner Brothers' worry. Their worry wasn't that the product wasn't good, because from every indication we had, the product was good. Coyote versus Acme ended up being very good. They were just worried that the amount of money it would make at the movie theaters wouldn't be enough to make up for the cost of them putting it into movie theaters. And I hate bringing this up, but it has to be said. They weren't the only ones that thought so. Because you remember, Christian, they put it up for auction, say, hey, if any other studio wants to take it off our hands, all we're asking for is the production budget value. And nobody wanted it. Everybody passed. Sony passed, Amazon passed, Netflix passed. Everybody agreed that we don't think this thing can make a return. And then along came Ketchup and Mustard and Mayonnaise Productions, whatever they're called.
Right.
And they decided we're going to take a swing at this. And I'm grateful that they are, because it means I get to see it. But let me ask you, Christian.
Yeah.
The reviews are all great. We've heard good things internally from Warner Brothers about it. We heard Lord and Miller saw it a year ago, and they said they thought it was really good. Is anybody going to go see it? Like, you and I will probably be there, but is this going to get an audience out? I don't know. What do you think?
The question is, does my 8-year-old want to see it?
You
know, and if I took her to the movies, she'd watch it, but she's not like Toy Story. She wanted to make sure that she saw Minions. She hasn't seen it, but she wants to see it. Right? She doesn't know anything about this movie, unless I take her to go see it, which she probably will like it, but she doesn't. It's probably one of the reasons that they were having so many problems trying to get people to buy it, because as classic as the characters are, and as much as we don't want to admit it, the IP is not what it was 40 years ago. And that's not even when it was created. You know, it's like the IP has diminished. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't live and do really well on streaming. I hope that good reviews help it out, but there's been tons of great movies that have great reviews that nobody sees. The first one that comes to my mind is Dread.
That was so good.
It's a great movie. No one saw it in the theater. Shawshank
Terrible
Redemption.
marketing. Terrible marketing, though. Yeah.
This movie's marketing isn't great. Not for kids. I haven't. I always use my kids as the test, and I've never heard them mention this at all. In the same way that I think Supergirl's marketing was atrocious, like where both my wife and my and my 14-year-old had no idea. Well, the 14-year-old had heard of it, but she just didn't care. And my wife had never heard of Supergirl, and I was like, this marketing is so key to these things. With these other movies, these big movies, the Toy Stories and everything too, the competition that it's had, what's driving families to go and see it? Because that's your audience. I just don't know how successful it's going to be. I don't know what it's tracking at. I don't know ultimately what they spent to purchase it, but I'm rooting for it because I want to see it.
I'm rooting for it too, but here's the other part. Like, Ketchup, Mustard, Mayonnaise saved the day, bought the movie. They don't have the money to mount a legitimate marketing campaign for it. Like, I think the best they can do, and I hope I'm speaking out of turn and I can be corrected, I hope, but it doesn't seem that they have the money to mount a legitimate marketing campaign. And they're going to be relying on these viral sort of ideas like dropping a trailer at Comic-Con, just getting it out on YouTube without any traditional backing. And I just don't know that they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but hey, listen, at least it sounds like the movie is as good as we were hoping it would be. And I myself am really looking forward to seeing it. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The first reactions to full screenings of the brand new Looney Tunes film, Coyote versus Acme, are now out, and they're glowing. They're great. Are you planning on going to see it? Do you think anybody else is going to go see it? I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Well, it may have been a short presentation at just over 30 minutes, but they did drop some good stuff at that Marvel Hall H Comic-Con panel. And of course, the piece de resistance, the little cherry on top, the main event, was they showed, they're calling it an exclusive footage thing. Let's call it what it is, though. It's a trailer. They showed an exclusive trailer to the folks at CinemaCon who were there in Hall H of Avengers Doomsday. Now, the first trailer that we saw at CinemaCon all the way back in April, they've recently put it out online, and I think it's quite good. I think it's a good trailer. I think it's a good first trailer, right? First trailers are only supposed to be surface. They're not supposed to go too deep. Just kind of give you a sense, kind of introduce you to some ideas. That's it, right? And I thought for a first trailer, this trailer was pretty darn good. But this trailer from Comic-Con blows it out of the water. For a short time, you might still be able to find it online somewhere. I know Marvel worked very diligently with their legal department to get as many of the illegal leaked stuff torn down off the internet. But I mean, I and a lot of you guys had a chance last night or the day before to see those before they got torn down. And listen, guys, I like that first trailer. I like it. It's good. This is way better. Way better. And I know I'm not preaching to a choir here because I know neither Christian or Jonathan, either of you guys went out of your way to go see it. I know, Christian, you're trying to shield yourself from it a little bit.
Yeah, I just think they're going to probably show it at D23, and that's when they're going to release it.
I think you're probably right. I think you're right about that. And you know what? That would have been a better first viewing experience for me because my viewing experience of it was somebody's phone on this pointed at the screens, a little blurry, whatever. But even in that state, oh my God, was it ever great? Because it gives us some background. We understand Doom's motivation. It totally starts off with Sue Storm just narrating, saying, you know, Victor was always the smartest guy in the room. Things we often say about Reed. But Victor was always the smartest guy in the room. But then as she's telling the story, like something broke Victor. Victor lost everything, she talks about, kind of indicating that they were friends, that Victor lost everything and we don't recognize him anymore. And there's a lot of very cool things in there. But to me, in the main trailer, they already show that shot where Thor comes down with Stormbreaker. And again, this image here, this image here, we've all seen it. That Doom just blocks it with two fingers. Blocks Stormbreaker with two fingers, right? The thing is, in the movie, or in this new trailer, Thor, and I'm paraphrasing Thor's line here, but he goes, "You'll beg for hell by the time I grant it to you," right? He says this to Dr. Doom. And then Dr. Doom says the most Dr. Doom line ever, because when he says, "I'll send you to hell like long after you beg me for it," and Dr. Doom says, and this is a direct quote, and I'm going to do a very bad job trying to imitate Robert Downey Jr.'s voice here. When he says to Thor, "Hell answers to me, for I am Doom." It is it sounded a little bit, who's the director I'm thinking of? Werner Herzog.
Oh yeah, Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
It totally sounds like Robert Downey Jr. is doing a Werner Herzog, but it was so perfect. Hell answers to me, for I am Doom. I'm like, that is the most Doctor Doom thing I've ever heard said on screen. It was amazing. The whole trailer had a kinetic energy to it, and it was rapid. And it just dropped some just needle drop moments. And it was some great lines, some wonderful action. And I'd like the whole Sentinel scene and everything like that too. I got to tell you, Christian, we were talking a little bit earlier. I can't remember. Yeah. Lanterns. You're saying, I don't know why this isn't the one you led with.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know why this wasn't the trailer they led with publicly, to be honest with you.
I got an answer for that.
Oh, what's that?
Because the difference is between Lanterns and this, you don't need to do that right away for this one. You don't need
That's
to.
true.
The first thing you need to do is just again, I always talk about the casual people first, because people who are going to want to, even the people who are like, I don't need to see another Avengers movie. If you're a comic fan, you're going to see it anyway, right? But like the people who just don't care about comic book movies anymore, and they hear they're doing another Avengers movie. Oh, they are? Yeah, look at that little teaser that popped up before you saw the Odyssey. Oh, it's in my mind now. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, but here's what the story's about now. Check this out. It's like that little, when they do the marketing right, this is the part of it that I do like, when they do the teaser first to get me curious, then they give me the story. But that's when I start to bail afterwards, because then now the next couple of trailers after that one, whenever this one does get released, will then be the spoiler trailers. Will then be like, oh, I gave you too much, and here's Hulk catching Iron Man in the end of Avengers, and now I know that he lives. But this, I think, because if people are already going, even if you're like, I didn't show me that much. You said it before, John. You were like, okay, I liked this first trailer, but this one was awesome. It did the trick. It did what it needed to do for you. Now what it needs to do is the people who didn't like the first one, who didn't like it, to win them over with it. I didn't like that first trailer, but man, that second one was great. That's what they're trying to do with this one, because get that first one out of people's minds. They set it up. I like this strategy.
The other big difference between the Lanterns example and this one is that Lanterns opens in 1 month.
Right.
Yeah.
Doomsday, to your point, Christian, is still 4 months away.
Right.
So it's still early in the process. But I can't help but feel like, man, you held off dropping that first trailer for so long. Like maybe this is the one you could, but you're right. I mean, they've got a lot of time to do a slow build and a slow burn, but I hope you're right, Christian, that this is something that they drop at D23 and then put it on.
Yeah.
I would love the world to see this.
It makes sense to do it that way. Again, when people and look, there's only so much exclusive stuff you can do, because even this got leaked, right? You don't want it to get leaked again. Show people at D23. Show them other scenes and stuff that they get exclusive stuff. They should get exclusive stuff. But when it comes to the trailer, and you're only going to be from August out, and it's really Spider-Man's going to be already in the theaters, it's your next movie out. Get the trailer going, start moving, and especially if people are responding to this one, put it out before it does get leaked more. I think D23 will probably be the answer.
Well, I just am very much looking forward just to seeing it in HD quality rather than the little phone shaky thing. Yeah. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Were you one of the many people who had a chance to see the leaked trailer from Comic-Con of Avengers Doomsday? If so, what did you think about it? Maybe you've been scurrying around trying to find the last bastions of it still around online. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's now time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to bid a very good afternoon to the incredible Christian Harloff. Christian, great job as always, man. I'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yes, thank you. And to let you know, Lanterns, apparently they dropped that news at the panel. Okay. They are releasing it all in one shot.
There you go.
Okay, so they did that, which is very concerning. I'm not going to lie. It's very concerning.
Yeah. I'll see you guys next week. And John, I'll let you know, sometimes I'm going to see Brand New Day today. I'll have my out of the theater, but I'll let you know.
I'm not seeing it till Wednesday.
Nice.
Text me after you see it, man. Text me after you see it. All right.
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
to see you. Jonathan,
guys.
we'll talk to you tomorrow, of course, my friend.
See you guys tomorrow.
All right, guys. So with that all down, let's now get over, shall we, and start taking your comments and questions. Now just so you know, I did turn off super chats because way too many came in. Way too many. So I'm not even sure I'm going to get through all these, but we are going to endeavor to do that right now. So let's not waste any more time and get over to it, shall we? I believe we were going to start off here with Alpha. And Alpha writes, loved Odyssey and seeing Matt and Anne, that's Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway, with Nolan again. Which one-time collaborator would you like to see him with again? Mine, Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson, or Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, yeah, these are all great names. And obviously everybody who works with him. I would actually love to see him and Matthew McConaughey work together again. I mean, what Matthew McConaughey's performance in Interstellar, like Matthew McConaughey has an Academy Award. Right? He already has an Academy Award. He won Best Actor for Dallas Buyers Club. I actually think, while Interstellar is not my favorite Christopher Nolan film, I think that might be Matthew McConaughey's best performance, was working with Christopher Nolan. And so I think that's one I would like to see. I think I would like to see him working with Matthew McConaughey again. All right. Ryan Looney writes, that opening scene of House of the Dragon last night, I haven't watched it yet. Was truly enthralling. They took the final exchange word for word from the book to a cheer-worthy moment. Yeah, I haven't seen last night's episode yet. I was playing poker till about 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. So I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. As soon as today's show is done, I'm going to go and watch the new episode Yes, but I haven't seen the new episode yet. My God, I've been loving this season of House of the Dragon, though. All right. CR writes, I was too young to really follow Titanic and Avatar history box office runs. So how would you say their starts compared to the Odysseys? I can't remember. I don't know. I cannot remember off the top of my head what like the opening weekend box office was. If I go over to Box Office Mojo and I look up Titanic, I have a feeling it's probably going to be saved as Avatar. Like Avatar didn't have a big opening weekend at all. Like the biggest movie of all time did not have a big opening week. I think Avatar made like 70 something million dollars on its opening weekend. And it went on to be the highest grossing film of all time. Titanic, which is one of the highest grossing films of all time, only had an opening of $28 million. 28 million. So it's had a better start than those movies did, but back then movies had longer legs than they do today. So we'll see how that all kind of matches up. All right. Mike Vetter writes, my wish list for the next MCU saga, 7 to 10 years worth of new films that contain an X-Men trilogy and cap it off with 2 Avengers films, Avengers versus X-Men, followed by Avengers plus X-Men Age of Apocalypse. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not so intrigued with Avengers versus X-Men. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm just not. I don't think that's very interesting. To me, it's a cheap knockoff of Civil War. That's just me. Again, that's just me. Don't get me wrong. If they were to do it, I'd be there. And we're going to kind of see a shadow of Avengers versus X-Men in Doomsday. Like we all know that. But then, yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, the next phase is not just going to be, I guess I can take my headphones off now, is not just going to be X-Men movies. Like there are some people, because it was going to be called the Mutant Saga, a lot of people thought that it was just going to be all X-Men all the time now. And it's not. Like we know we're getting a Shang-Chi 2. We know we're getting a Black Panther 3. We know we're going to get another Thor movie. We know we're going to get another Doctor Strange movie. So they're still going to be doing bigger Marvel stuff while they start doing X-Men stuff. But I don't know. To me, doing Avengers versus X-Men seems like beating the novelty to death that you already did in Civil War. But I don't know. Obviously, I trust Kevin Feige. If he thinks he can find a way to do it, then by all means do it, man. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that, man. James Germain writes, here's a theory for Lanterns. What if the Manhunters aren't the Manhunters we're thinking of, but actual Martian Manhunters? Okay, look, you guys know that when that one creature with the camera was behind him, so we only saw the back, When that one creature morphed, there was kind of some old comic book design Martian Manhunters look to the outfit he was wearing. I'm not saying anything. I'm just pointing out that when that one dude morphed, it did kind of have an outfit that was very similar to some early age comic book designs. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. So you might not be far off there, James. You might not. All right. Jai CSC writes, one of two. It was around the release of Barbie when I first thought this. Fall Guy, Project Hail Mary, and now Ghost Rider casting have cemented it. Now I stand firm by this. Ryan Gosling is the new era Nicolas Cage. I don't know if that's true. World-class actor, can take a wide range of roles and does so with a style and an aura unique to them. I mean, yes, but you can say that about a lot of actors. I mean, look, I love Nick Cage. You guys, like, if you've followed my show for any period of time, you know I love Nick Cage. I love the new Spider-Man Noir. I mean, I thought he was the heart and soul of Kick-Ass. I just think he's spectacular. Pig. I mean, whatever. Like, even the low budget, just for a paycheck to pay off his taxes stuff. I've always loved him, right? But I do think that him and Ryan Gosling are two very different careers and two very different personalities and two very different actors. I don't know that I would say there's a lot of similarities between them, and that's not a knock on either of them. I'm just saying, I don't know that I'd call one kind of the same. I wouldn't call Ryan Gosling the new Nick Cage. I wouldn't do that personally. I just think they're far too different from each other. But I get the essence of what it is you're saying there, Jai. All right, next up, Kyle Grinder writes, I'd rather have had Shang-Chi 2 than Ghost Rider, but it's not one or the other. Like, it's not that we're not, how do I put this? It's not that the reason we're not getting Shang-Chi 2 is because they're doing Ghost Rider instead. Dustin Daniel Cretton's kind of busy. He's got Spider-Man. He's got that, what is it? Notaru, or however you pronounce it. He's got that other one he's doing after this. Maybe they get a new director. Maybe they don't. Now, look, I agree. I am like, where the hell is Shang-Chi 2? They should have had one out by now. But it's not like them doing Ghost Rider is why we're not getting Shang-Chi 2. It's a plethora of other things, I think. Plus, I think they also want to wait and see how the public responds to Shang-Chi in Avengers. Let's see how that kind of turns out. All right. Next up, Spencer writes, is it a bad look that every promotional piece for Doomsday has been initially presented to the public as either leaked footage or trailer description? No, I don't think so. You know what? To be honest with you, Spencer, I don't think 99% of the world would even recognize that. Like, we got to remember that guys like you and me, people who make and watch these types of shows, we represent like 1% of the movie-going audience. And I think to the vast majority of the planet, nobody notices or cares or whatever. And it really doesn't matter. It's neither a good look nor a bad look. I would almost say it's a good look because it shows that there's so much interest in these properties that people are desperate just to get information on a corporately produced piece of marketing for the movie. Right? So yeah, I would say I don't think it's a bad look. I don't think it's a good look or a bad look. I really don't think it means anything either way. And I think most people on the planet probably wouldn't care, to be honest with you. All right. Thanks for asking that, Spencer. Mike Hill writes, what do you think of the chances of Rune King Thor appearing? And also, will we see him in Doomsday and Secret Wars? I think it is an absolute we will see him in Secret Wars. I do not think we're anywhere near close to a Rune King Thor. Now, that's not to say they can't borrow story, which is what Marvel usually does. They normally don't just straight up do a particular story. They normally will borrow elements from stories, but I think we're still pretty far off. Like, I don't know, maybe that's something they do in like a Thor 5, but I don't think it's something we'll get in Doomsday or Secret Wars. But I do expect to see him in Secret Wars for sure. All right, Raymond Verada writes, there's a new Robson Transformer and it's fallen Optimus in gray. It also has the Autobot Matrix, the Matrix of Leadership. You can relive your childhood trauma with it from 1986. I still consider the 1986 Transformers to be the biggest abomination ever created and the biggest spit in the face insult to fandom that any studio or toy company has ever done. I know there are those of you out there who love the 1986 Transformers movie. Oh, we love it. Oh, it's so good. But you know what the funny thing is? When I talk to people, and maybe you're not one of these, maybe you're not, maybe it's just my limited experience. When I talk to these people, I say, "What? Tell me something, a great memory you have of it." Oh, the fight between Megatron and Optimus, and oh, seeing that. But you know what it is? It's always the first 10 minutes. You want to know why? Because nobody gives a flying crap who Cup is. Nobody cares who Cup is. Nobody cares about Ultra Magnus. I liked my Ultra Magnus personally, but that's just me. He was the first Transformer to swear. He said, "Damn it." First Transformer ever to swear. Nobody cared. That whole movie was designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to kill all your favorite Transformers and manipulate kids into saying, "Oh, sorry kids, all your favorite Transformers are dead. Now you need a Quintezon." What the fuck is a Quintezon? Don't worry about it. Just tell your mom and dad to buy it for you, because you're gonna love Quintezons. Hate that movie so much. It was such an overt spit in the face to the fans. And I say this as somebody who was a desperate Transformers fan and collected all the toys. And I'm sitting there watching the movie with all my toys, like, oh, this one's dead now. Oh, and this one's dead. Oh, there goes Sunstreaker. Oh, there goes Prowl. Oh, there goes Wheeljack. Oh, there goes Brawn. Oh, Ironhide's dead. Oh no, wait, what? And now they're gonna kill Optimus. Okay, like 18 months later, they realized, well, that was a giant mistake. And they did this lame thing on the TV show where they brought him back to life because if they needed to, because they know they totally ruined the Transformers. Anyway, sorry. I get a little bit emotional when talking about that travesty of a 1986 film. There are two redeeming things about that film. Oh, three. Give it 3. The Optimus Megatron fight is great. One will stand, one will fall. It's a great fight. Yes. Very emotional seeing Optimus die. I'll give it that. The other one is, of course, you got the touch. You got the power. I mean, it was like the anthem. It was the rock anthem of our lives in 1986, right? So I'll give it that. And then the Weird Al Yankovic, dare to be stupid, stick your head in the microwave and give yourself a tan. Dare to be stupid. I mean, that was a highlight of it too. I mean, it was with a bunch of useless throwaway characters that none of you even remember who they are. But yes, the 1986 Transformers movie is a giant FU from Hasbro to all the kids who were their devoted fans. I hate that. I hate it so much. I've never forgiven Hasbro for it. When my wife Ann worked at Hasbro, I remember meeting an executive Hasbro once and, I kind of never forgiven you guys for what you guys did to Transformers back in 1986. And she's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I wasn't even there. I'm 42 years old. I was like in high school when that happened. But I was demanding of her answers for what they did, even though it was none of her fault. All right. Steven writes, let's see. Do you think Frank will be in a good portion of Spider-Man Brand New Day? No, I don't think so. I am looking forward to seeing their interaction. It looks very promising. Yeah. And by the way, the scene they showed of Frank and Spider-Man fighting Hulk was pretty cool at Comic-Con. I don't expect we're going to see a lot of him in the movie. It is not Spider-Man and Punisher the movie. It's not Spider-Man and Hulk the movie. It's Spider-Man. I'm going to go out on a limb. I've not seen the film yet. I'm going to see it Wednesday. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess, if you had a stopwatch, I'm going to guess 14 minutes of screen time, which actually isn't bad. That's not bad for a supporting character, but I'm going to guess somewhere around 14 minutes of screen time for Frank. Maybe it'll be more, but that's going to be my guess. We'll see. Zach Taylor writes, Thoughts on Paramount delaying the merger until 2027? We'll talk about it on the show tomorrow. That we were going to talk about it today, so I'm not going to go into it in depth here. I'll just say it is a clear sign that Paramount knew they were going to lose, and I suspect that they are doing this so they don't have to pay their a legal bill for at least a year, because there's going to be tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in legal bills to fight this. They knew they were going to lose the hearing. They've delayed it till 2027, meaning they have to pay about $1 billion in penalty fees to the WB. I have changed my mind. I don't think this merger is going to happen now. But we'll talk more about it on the John Campea Show tomorrow, probably. All right. Next up, your rights. Seen the Odyssey 3 times now, both in IMAX and regular, and must say the difference isn't that big. You know what? Listen, I love the movie. It's my number 1 film of the year so far. Number 1, Odyssey. Number 2, The Invite. Number 3, Project Hail Mary. I think number 4 is now Forgotten Island, the animated film that's coming out in September. And number 5 is probably Sheep Detectives. Anyway, it's my favorite movie of the year so far, but I wasn't all that blown away by the IMAX presentation. Just being honest, I love IMAX, and I have been blown away by other presentations in IMAX. But, I haven't seen it a second time yet. My wife, Ann, went to go see it at the Dolby Theater, and she said it looked better at the Dolby Theater than it did at the 70mm IMAX presentation we saw. But I'll see what I think about it when I go see it again this week. Jay Bling writes, which upcoming Spaceball cinematic universe movie are you looking forward to the most? Guys, I don't know if you saw it, but at the Spaceballs, the new one presentation they did at Comic-Con, they laid out in very Marvel style graphics the phase timeline of the Spaceballs cinematic universe. And I'll just let you guys go and look it up, because some of them are freaking hilarious. Go look it up. I'm not going to do it justice trying to remember them and just paraphrasing them. Go look it up. They look great. All right. Rich Reviews writes, in the next few weeks, my Alamo will show A New Leaf, Raising Cain. I haven't seen that in ages. Mickey and Nikki, The Piano. I love that. And Mysterious Skin 2004. What should I see? I love The Piano. I have to confess, I've never seen Mysterious Skin. So I can't give any recommendation on that one, because I'm not familiar with that. But The Piano is a fabulous movie. That would be a cool one to see. That one would get my pick. All right. Rich also writes, thoughts on the Rebel Wilson lawsuit getting thrown out, but the person is appealing. Not really much to comment on. I didn't follow it closely. I know in a separate legal case that Rebel Wilson has going on, they found that she was using the same firm to artificially create bad press, like make up a lot of shit, bad press about a filmmaker she was working with. It's the same firm that the Baldoni guy used to fabricate fake news stuff about Blake Lively. Got caught with that, which, by the way, is the reason Justin Baldoni has to pay $9 million in Blake Lively legal fees. Anyway. So I know she was caught using the same firm. So I don't know what's going to come with that one, but this was a separate one. And it's honestly one I didn't follow very much. I really don't know much about it, so I really can't give any commentary on it. All right. Fair question though, Rich. Next up, Gavin writes, I'm going to watch every single Marvel thing leading up to Secret Wars. That's going to be a long watch day, my friend, leading up to Secret Wars next year. But what should I be watching to lead up to Doomsday based on what you know and can say? One of the really good things, and I've been saying this about the Doomsday stuff for a while, is that it feels to me like older Marvel, when Marvel used to be any new Marvel project was a valid entry point for a new fan. It got to be in the last couple of years that you had to do homework. You had to do homework to watch any new Marvel project. I don't feel like Doomsday is that. Now, you will get some added benefit if you do know some previous stuff when you're watching Doomsday. Sure. But my guess is the only thing I think is almost essential viewing is maybe Infinity War and Endgame, just to give a broader context of where Marvel is right now. So honestly, I think you can go in cold. If you want absolutely one or two, I would say Infinity War and Endgame. Good question, Gavin. Daniel Phillips writes, how do you think Gun DC can top Marvel Hall H? Topping this year's isn't hard because they only did 35 minutes. I mean, yeah, this year's not a great. Marvel has done much better Hall H. Again, I still think it was a pretty good Hall H. But it's topping this year's Hall H, I don't think is monumentally difficult. But it's just going to good to see them there. I honestly think it was a mistake not to have a Hall H. Granted, you really don't have much to talk about other than some lower profile stuff like an HBO thing with Lanterns, a smaller film like Clayface, and you really don't have Man of Tomorrow coming out until next year. But I still think it would have behooved them to have done a Hall H this year. I think it would have been a good idea for them. Anyway, especially coming off of the disappointment that was Supergirl. All right, Comic Fan writes, do you think we will get X-Men at D23 because they are going to start production this year? Actually, from what I'm hearing, they're not starting production this year. And I could be wrong about this. The information I got could be wrong. My understanding is that they're not actually going to start production until the spring of 2027. I don't think they're going to introduce X-Men at all. For two reasons. One, I don't think there's much point in promoting new X-Men when you have the old school X-Men about to be featured in an Avengers movie. Right? That doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense to go out and start promoting all the new X-Men, start talking about these new X-Men when we've got the original batch of X-Men about to be in Avengers Doomsday. That wouldn't make any sense. So that's why I don't think they're going to talk about it. The second reason I don't think they're going to talk X-Men, other than maybe X-Men 97, I don't think they're going to talk about X-Men at D23, is because it seems like Comic-Con was for talking about the movies, and it feels like D23 is going to be for talking about the Disney Plus stuff. So that means Vision Quest. That probably means some information on Wonder Man Season 2. That probably means some X-Men 97, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, some other animated projects. I have a feeling they're going to focus more on that. Marvel, not Disney as a whole, but Marvel will focus on the television stuff since Comic-Con focused on the movie stuff. That's my guess. I could be totally wrong, but that's just my guess. All right. Next up, Real Life Entertainment writes, did you notice that the siren motif plays over the scene where Penelope and Odysseus are talking while he's disguised as the beggar? Troy's scene also. I honestly did not. I was so wrapped up. And by the way, this is not a knock on the soundtrack. It's actually a compliment. Soundtracks are often, scores, I should say, are often at the height of perfection when they just blend into the scene and you almost don't even notice it. That's when you know you've written something really special for the scene, that you're just engrossed in the scene and the music is a part of that to the point that you almost don't even notice the music. That is a high praise compliment to the score. But anyway, no, honestly, I didn't notice. I've only seen it once though, so far, to be fair. Only seen it once. But I will now keep my eyes open for that, though, Real Life, when I see it a second time. All right. Todd Andrew writes, just finished my first manuscript for my first book. So proud and feel so accomplished. That's awesome. But also what I want, same game day, Spider-Man this week. So keen. Well, first of all, writing, I know I wrote a book. I'll just tell you guys this. I told people this last year. At the first bit of, some of you guys who were at our movie meetups last year know this. I let some people know at some movie meetups. For the last, not year, but 6 to 8 months, I've been working on a new book. Now, my first book, The Pride, took me 5 years to do because being a writer is not my main thing, clearly. So it took me 5 years, or somebody else probably could have written it in 2 or 3 weeks. It took me 5 years to do it. I'm hoping to have this one done much sooner. And I'm going to make the plan right now. If it doesn't turn out to be total garbage, the plan right now is for me to finish. I've got the first draft done. The first draft is done. I have it out to a couple of places right now, going through an editing process, basically, because I'm me and I need it. Then there will probably be a second draft. And then the plan is to immediately produce it as an audiobook. And then get that out at the same time that I put the book out. That's the plan at any rate. Anyway, we'll see how it all comes together. I know, I mean, I don't know how much longer it's going to, I'd like to think I'm going to have it done before Endgame or before Doomsday comes out. But knowing me, it might take longer than that. But my plan is to have it out before December. Well, we'll see though. All right, next up. And so Todd, I understand how difficult that can be. So good on you for actually finishing the first run through, man. That is the hardest part. So well done, my friend. All right. Warped Space writes, hey, John, did you see that a bunch of outlets are saying Spider-Man is tracking for 300 million plus? Yes, but none of the official box office sites are. Weekend with 800 million global toll. At first I thought it was fake, but big outlets are saying it now, but it's not coming from any legitimate. This is the thing. I'm not saying Spider-Man can't open to 300 million. It's hard to imagine, but I'm not saying it can't, but it's not the main trackers that are saying it. I mentioned that last week too. Some to keep, it is not the main trackers. And then other people are kind of picking up on, again, this is why I always say, follow the source. Can't just say Screen Rant reported. No, Screen Rant is just telling you that this other place was reporting it. Who's the other place? And right now it's not the actual main trackers. The main tracking and projectors are still saying around 250. Again, that is not to say it can't be 300 million. Just keep in mind where the information is coming from. All right. Next up, Cameron writes, John, who is in charge of what trailers play in front of a movie in theaters? Does the director have any say in that? The director has zero say in the trailers at all. It's surprising how people still realize this. Directors do not make the trailers to their movies. There is a 1% exception where I think Christopher Nolan and Steven Spielberg may have some say in their trailers. But listen to me. Generally speaking, the directors of movies have zero input and zero say about the trailers to their movies because they're responsible for making the movies. The studios have marketing departments and distributors that are experts in how to market something. Directors are not marketers. They're not marketers. They're artists. They're creators. Directors basically have zero say in their, again, there are some very rare exceptions to that, but generally speaking, directors absolutely have no say in what trailer gets to play in a theater. That is absolutely, have no say. That all belongs to the movie theaters. Now, I can't remember the actual person at the movie theaters. Like if it might be I don't know if it's their studio relations people or their in-theater marketing people. I can't remember who it is that does that, but basically, you know, the studios can ask for stuff, but it's the theaters that decide what gets played. Usually they'll work together though. All right. Goldkinder writes, a year ago, I thought Doom would use Sentinels or make his own because why bring X-Men? And we saw glimpses in the X-Men clips. Glad I was right. Well, one has nothing to do with the other. You don't need to have Sentinels to have X-Men. I don't understand that logic. What's the point in having X-Men if you don't have the Sentinels? I don't see the connection there, but it's definitely a tool that can be used. Like we always thought there would either be some kind of form of, you know, Ultron bots, right? Doom bots. We thought it would either be Doom bots or I remember Rob and I did a big discussion of it about a year ago. It would either be, he has to have cannon fodder, right? Your bad guys always have to have cannon fodder. Beings and creatures and characters that the heroes can take out to show off their power. In Infinity War, it was, what was the little monster creatures that came swarming? Like that's your cannon fodder. Even the Black Order is cannon fodder to a degree. Ultron had all of his Ultron bots. They were the cannon fodder. Every big villain needs cannon fodder. In Black Panther, Killmonger got control of a segment of the Wakandans. So those segment of the Wakandans became the cannon fodder for our heroes to beat easily, right? Before they come and face the big villain. With Doctor Doom, it's no different. You can't just have Doctor Doom. You also have to have cannon fodder things to show off our heroes fighting and battling and being victorious in some ways. So whether that's Doom bots or the Latvian army, and to some degree on a higher level, Sentinels like the Black Order was, that was always kind of a thing. So we'll see how they're going to be used here. All right. Luis writes, I have a bad feeling about Spider-Man because the trailers have shown the same scenes, but in a different order. Why would that give you any indication about Spider-Man? It doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't tell me anything at all. It just tells me that when the studio went to the marketing department, they only said there was a very limited amount of footage they were allowed to draw from. That's all it tells me. I don't think it says anything bad or good. I think it's totally neutral. It's neither bad nor good, but I wouldn't, Luis, I wouldn't worry one bit or try to read anything into that whatsoever. I like nothing bad, nothing good. Wouldn't worry about it at all. All right. Femi writes, is Teyonah Parris in Avengers Doomsday? She was a Comic-Con for Matchbox, but not for Marvel. Even though Kelsey Grammer was, and last time we saw Monica Rambeau was in a post-credit scene with Beast. You know what? I don't know for sure. To be really honest with you, I don't know for sure. Look, when I got read in ages ago and everything that happens in Doomsday, they didn't give me everything that happens in every single second and every line that every person says. And by the way, that was a long time ago. I have no doubt when I go in and watch Doomsday, some things are probably going to be a little bit different. But as far as Photon, Monica Rambeau, I honestly don't know. It would seem to make sense that she would be there because she is in that alternate universe at the end of Marvels. But honestly, the answer to that is I don't know. That's a great question though, man. All right. Let's see. Never Lose Your Nerd writes, how do you with dual monitors on OBS record something on one monitor while watching the OBS screen with the other? Please help. I can't figure it out. Well, just I'm not going to go into a big tech support thing here, but it's very easy. You use a source, use window capture, go create a new source, and it'll give you a big list of potential sources. Pick either window capture or screen capture. And then you just designate that monitor and it will see that as a source, just like it sees a camera. I hope you find that helpful. I hope that helps you out there. Never Lose Your Nerd. All right. Kevin Cow writes, RR showing up as Deadpool. Oh, Ryan Reynolds showing up as Deadpool was so cool. I thought on the convention floor when that happened. Oh, you were on the convention floor when that happened. Hall H news was great. I still want Shang-Chi 2, hopefully soon. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds showing up at Comic-Con at the Hall H panel in the Deadpool outfit was pretty cool. And also a little bit of a misdirect. Also, I'm not going to say much, just a little bit of a misdirect. By the way, you can find Ryan Reynolds' appearance at Comic-Con on YouTube. Just look, Ryan Reynolds, Comic-Con, Hall H, Avengers Doomsday, because he crashes the panel, right? And it was pretty funny. The little exchange with him and Paul Rudd was pretty good. You should go check it out. All right. Francesco writes, hey, John, first of all, love your show. Thank you so much. My question is, do you think that RDJ is still going to be our Doom after Secret Wars, or will we get a new one? No, I don't think we're going to have any Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom is going to have a 2-movie arc. 2 big, major, significant movies, which is more than 99% of villains often get. I think he's going to be the big centerpiece villain of 2 movies and then be gone. Much like Thanos was. Oh, but John, Thanos made quick appearances in other films. He really had 2 movies, Infinity War and Endgame. And I think Doctor Doom is going to get the same. Now, I don't know what happens in Secret Wars, but it's not a matter of do I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Doom. I don't think we're going to have a Doctor Doom after Secret Wars. That's my guess at any rate. All right, next up. Again, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just guessing. So that's my guess. Felix writes, do you think having a new cast of X-Men right after seeing the originals in Doomsday and maybe Secret Wars will be like having a Han Solo movie right after having Harrison Ford back? Thanks. Love the show. No, not if it's after. Because I think with X-Men, we all thought the X-Men were gone already. Like we just assigned ourselves that the X-Men were gone. The original Fox era X-Men were gone. I think we all know going in that this is a swan song. And I think everybody's fine with that. You know, it's not completely dissimilar to the whole notion of having Toby and Andrew in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's like, can you just move on with Tom Holland in a new Spider-Man movie when we just had Toby and Andrew? Yeah, because that we knew that was, they were supposed to be already done. So we got a swan song from them. And maybe we'll see glimpses of them again, but so it was fine. So yeah, I think it'll be fine. What I do think would be weird is promoting and talking about the new X-Men before Doomsday that features the old X-Men even comes out. So again, they might do it anyway, but I think it'll be fine. I really do. I don't think it's similar to the Han Solo thing. All right. Next up, Luis writes, I'm not as excited for Doomsdays as I'd like to be because both movies have the same format as Infinity War and Endgame. No, they don't. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They have the same format. Like, if you're talking about, well, see, in the end of the first movie, we're assuming, because Secret Wars is happening, that Doom accomplishes whatever it is he's setting out to accomplish to cause Secret Wars. Much like at the end of Infinity War, Thanos won. But then are you then not excited for every comic book movie that comes out that all follow the same format? Hero's a hero, loves being a hero. Oop, villain comes along and causes all kinds of problems. At the end, hero triumphs over the villain. That's the same format. So are you not excited for every comic book movie in history? I don't see any similarities other than maybe at the end of this movie, it's not the heroes who prevail. And that kind of happened in Infinity War too. But other than that, it's just like the hero wins at the end of every comic book movie. Yeah, but it's always different about how they get there. It's always a different thing and a different journey and a different story that gets us there. So if you feel yourself being turned off just because, oh, maybe in Doomsday, it's not the heroes who prevail. Again, I'm not saying they do or don't, but if your perception of it is that, oh, in Doomsday, the heroes don't prevail, just like they didn't prevail at the end of Infinity War, that makes it the same format. I would say you need to get out of that frame of thinking. Because if you think that, then logically following that, it means that you shouldn't be excited about any comic book movie ever that has the same format of the hero winning at the end. No, it's not about that. It's about the story and the journey and everything that gets us to those places. So listen, I'm not saying you need to be excited about Doomsday. We all have movies that appeal to us and movies that don't, and there's nothing wrong with either. It is appealing to you or not. I would suggest though that if your reason for not feeling any excitement for it is because maybe the heroes don't prevail at the end, like they did in that one movie, well, then how's that any different from all the movies that are the same in the sense that the heroes do prevail at the end? I would say you need to rethink that a little bit. That would be my encouragement. Luis. All right. Next up, Cameron writes, I've made up my mind now that I will only watch a teaser trailer for a movie I'm interested in or none at all, because it's more impactful in the theater when you know very little and haven't seen the clips yet. You know what, Cameron? You represent a train of thought that a lot of my friends have. I have a lot of friends that have that same mentality. But like a lot of my friends, I have to really disagree with you on that. I take a very opposite side of that, because trailers and reviews and things like that, like, you would be we would all agree you'd be foolish to run out and buy, I don't know, like like I've got a Samsung Fold phone, right? I love this thing. Thank you for breaking me free of the iPhone losery. I hated my iPhone. I had that iPhone for like 6 years. I hated it. I'm very much a Mac guy, but I hated the iPhone. Oh God, I'm so happy to be back on an Android phone. Anyway, I would have been foolish to spend $1,200 on a phone before watching the marketing materials for it, going and listening to some reviews, because to me, seeing a movie is an investment of your time and money. More importantly, your time. You're investing your time into seeing a movie, and you're investing money into seeing a movie. I disagree with this notion of, I don't want to know anything about it. I disagree with that, because how do you even know if it's something that's going to, in general, appeal to you or not? And if there are movies you say, I'm not interested in that, well, maybe if you watched some promotional material for it, it would interest you. And you listen, I'll be honest with you. We're all different people, so we all experience things in different ways. I know there's this romantic notion that, oh, it's so good going in totally fresh. I've never had that. I've gone into movies clean and fresh, and my experience with them has been no different than if I watched every single trailer for them. Because those are just little tidbits, right? You don't see it in context. You don't see it in its fullness. And to me, it's never changed. And again, I'm not trying to center you out on this, Cameron, because like I said, I have a number of very good, smart friends who feel the exact same way as you do. And I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this that feel the exact same way you do. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I have a very different perspective of that and explain to you why I feel very differently about it. But that's what the whole point of this is explaining our different perspectives on things. Anyway, thanks for sharing that, Cameron. Kevin Cow writes, Hall H is a horrible process. I went to Ed Sheeran concert on Tuesday at Petco Park. It was great, and they should hold Hall H there and use lottery. Here's the thing. You hold Hall H in Petco, the baseball stadium, right across the street from the convention center. Like literally, maybe 300 steps, and you're at Petco Park. You don't even need to have a lottery system. You don't even need to have a lottery system. You can fit 40,000 people in there. That's more than enough. More than enough. And do people say, well, then you got to be worried about the weather. I think I've been at Comic-Con where I saw rain once in like 15 years. And if you're, but like, it doesn't, being worried about the weather doesn't stop them from programming a ton of other stuff happening in Petco. There's always stuff, Comic-Con stuff going on at Petco. You don't seem to be worried about the weather there. And if you're really worried about the weather, which you shouldn't be, but if you really are, then just go a few miles away to the hockey arena, where you can hold quadruple the amount of people that you can in Hall H. It is utterly, the level of stupidity is astounding. Hall H does not work. It is a nightmare process just to get in. You literally have to sacrifice 30% of your living hours, of your waking hours, being at Comic-Con, just standing in lines. It does not work. It makes it a miserable experience. You know what? If Comic-Con didn't exist yet, let's pretend Comic-Con didn't exist. And somebody was suggesting an idea for a Comic-Con. Let's do this, where we get studios and artists and pop culture product and create this big weekend long festival of all this kind of stuff, right? Let's say you're proposing it for the first time. and say, then we'll have the movie studios do presentations of their highest, most highly anticipated stuff of the year that everybody's going to want to go to. Sounds good. And then we'll put it in a room that can hold less than 5% of the people that come. And those 5% of people will literally have to overnight stand in lines. They paid hundreds or thousands of dollars to buy their passes, travel to San Diego, pay the ridiculous hotel costs. They've spent thousands of dollars to come to this. And the first thing we're going to do to those people, the biggest fans, is we're going to make them use 30% of their waking hours at Comic-Con, literally just standing in lines. And there are going to be people who sacrifice 10, 15, 20 plus hours of their lives doing that and still not get in. It didn't work. We would say, well, that's dumb. You can't do that. But since they've been doing it, we just accept it. I was like, well, I guess that's just Comic-Con. No, it doesn't. I've gone to bigger conventions. All right? I've gone to much bigger conventions. CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, it dwarfs Comic-Con. Dwarfs Comic-Con, okay? In the sheer number of people that go to it, dwarfs it. You don't have to stand in line for 30 hours to be able to get in to see a big presentation. You don't have to worry about if I'm going to be able to get to see this thing that I'm really going there to see. If they can pull it off, you should be able to as well. And if you can't, then you need to move the damn thing. You need to move the damn thing. Anyway. Sorry, I go off on these tangents. Sorry, Kevin. Next up. Patrick Stewart sends in a $50 super chat. Thank you, Patrick, for supporting us on that level, man. Really appreciate that. And Patrick writes, thank you for the awesome Comic-Con coverage. Well, it was a lot of fun for us. A concise but heavy-hitting barrage of announcements. It helped increase my already high anticipation for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Thursday at 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time will be when me and my dad get to go see it. Man, I'm telling you what, I'm pretty damn hyped. I would say, I mean, I'm obviously not as excited to see it as I am for Dune 3, but I am really getting excited for Spider-Man. I'm really getting excited for it. So I've got my tickets for Thursday, but I was also lucky enough to get some of those Amazon advanced fan screening tickets for Wednesday night. So I'm going to go see it on Wednesday and Thursday. That's a very highly anticipated out of theater reaction that I'm going to be doing for that one. I'm really stoked about it. And obviously on Wednesday's show, we're going to be doing a game day, talking a lot about Spider-Man, I'm sure. Anyway, glad the wait is finally over. The wait is finally over. We're going to see Spider-Man Brand New Day in just a couple of days. I hope we like it. I hope we do. By the way, reviews, first reactions for Spider-Man Brand New Day come out tonight. I might do a quick video to talk about them when they do come out. And the full reviews drop tomorrow morning. So clearly we're going to be talking a lot tomorrow about Spider-Man Brand New Day reviews. All right. Thank you for that, Patrick. Appreciate that, man. All right. Spinach Saurus sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you for that, Spinach Saurus. Appreciate that, dude. Who writes, John, did you see the Dr. Doom hot toy? I did. You can see that there's an accessory that clearly says Black Crackle Mystic Power. I know you expressed your thoughts on my comment a few weeks ago, but as of now, do you think it's true? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, Spinosaurus. I get about 50 to 100 questions a day. I don't remember what your theory was. It sounds roughly familiar, but I've probably gone through 300 to 400 other questions before between your first one and this one, so I cannot remember. It sounds familiar, but I don't remember what your theory was. And it might have been something about, do I think they're going to be using like one of the art book styles from the comics? And I can't remember what the specific center of our conversation was. But anyway, let's just stick on this for a second. The Doctor Doom thing looks great. Have you seen the Magneto one too? You guys know Magneto's my all-time favorite character. Oh my God. The Ian McKellen Magneto looks so good. Looks so good, man. Oh, I can't wait. All right, next up. Cameron Warford writes, seeing Doomsday without watching a single trailer will be amazing. It's torture to stay away, but the payoff will be amazing. And I skip ahead when you talk about it on your show, unfortunately. Again, you function very differently from me. It does not increase my experience at all. It just doesn't. Yeah. As a matter of fact, for me, it actually heightens my experience. But if your makeup is such a design that not seeing anything enhances your in-theater experience, good on you. That's great. For me, makes zero difference. Yeah, I don't think I've had a better experience experiencing things in the theater when I never saw it in a trailer before versus I actually find myself get even more excited for the things I've seen in trailers to happen in the movie. And that actually enhances my experience. But again, we're all made differently. And if that's how your makeup works, then I'm excited that you get to have that experience, my friend. All right. Next up, Xavier Patterson writes, should Hall H attendance be determined beforehand, whether it's a premium upsell or a raffle selection process? Seems like an archaic process for 2026. I mean, look, what I don't want to have them do is make Hall H is only for the richest people. Like, I don't want that to be the answer. It's like, hey, want to come to Comic-Con? Great. $150 for a 3-day pass. $400 for the Marvel Hall H program. I don't want us to be in that situation where it's only the people with tons of extra money actually get to go. I mean, it already costs enough for everybody to go to Comic-Con, buy your badges, travel to San Diego, get a ridiculously expensive hotel, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it would solve the problem. It would create some logistical challenges, but it would, in theory, solve the problem. I much prefer changing venues to alleviate the issue. Get Hall H. If you have an event that 135,000 people are coming to, don't put your main attraction in a room that can hold less than 5% of those people. It's not rocket science. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It's not high advanced logistical thinking to realize, hey, maybe it's a bad idea that we have 135,000 people that buy badges to then put the thing that probably most of them would be most excited about potentially seeing in a room that can only hold 4.8% of those people. I don't know. Maybe that'll lead to problems. It just, yes, I don't know that the answer, while logistically it could solve things, I just don't know that the real answer is make it a pay to play. Because then how much do you charge for those tickets? Or do you only make it like an extra $50, but it's a lottery and it's a raffle you have to enter? I don't know. There could be a way to do it. There could be a way to do it, Xavier. All right. Samuel Shin sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Samuel. Appreciate that, man. Samuel writes, SDCC Doomsday trailer alleviated a fear of mine. I was worried that they omit the F4, especially Reed's rivalry with Doom. Reed shouting at him how Sue talks about him briefly was a relief coming from a diehard Fantastic Four reader. And yes, like, I've tried not to give anything away about it, but yes, there is absolutely a very important connection between Dr. Doom and the Richards family. There absolutely is. But yeah, there's a line in it. I can't remember. I'm paraphrasing, but there's a line in the new trailer where like Reed is like right in Victor's face. It's like, did you do this, Victor? Or something along those lines. Like, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, look, they're not making Doom. They're making Doom an Avengers level threat. They're not making him a Fantastic Four villain. They're making him the villain of the MCU, which I think is actually a good move. I know that'll piss off some of the purists, but it's the right move. But it's nice that they still make sure they have a very strong connection between Victor and the Fantastic Four. And I think this trailer just touches on that a little bit. All right, guys. I'm only going to take 2 more questions. I left the super chats open way too long. We had far too many come in, and I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is about to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get through 2 more, and then the ones that I have not gotten to yet, we will start tomorrow's Q&A by answering, by getting to the ones that we have left over here first. Okay? Fair deal. It's just that my voice is about to go. We've been going for 2 hours now. My voice is about to go. My apologies. So I'll just do 2 more. And again, don't worry about it. If you sent in a question and it went through and we haven't answered it yet, we will start off tomorrow's viewer question segment by getting to these leftover questions first. All right. I'm just doing the best I can. All right. Next up, thank you for that, Samuel, by the way. Appreciate that very much. Huey writes, hey, John, how's your day? Well, my day is great. I had a great show. Always love having Christian on. Jonathan does a great job as always. Just my throat's a little bit going here a bit, but other than that, doing great. All right. Mattoween just sends in a super chat badge to be supportive. Thank you, Mattoween. Appreciate that, man. All right. The last question I'll take today, then we'll get to the rest of them tomorrow. Haven't had to do that in a while, but I guess we have to do it today. Samuel Force writes, major trades are saying that while Deadpool casting in Doomsday is possible, his SDCC appearance isn't a confirmation by any means. Thoughts? He's in Doomsday. Like, ooh, everybody knows that already, but I can tell you he's in Doomsday. I mean, it's in the full report that got leaked online. Everybody's seen it. I understand the gag they did at Comic-Con with him showing up and kind of almost implying like he was like, do you think you can do some more shooting and put me in it? Look, Ryan Reynolds isn't showing up in the Deadpool costume unless Ryan Reynolds is in the movie, right? Like we all saw the report that came out. Everybody's seen it. We all know it. So, yeah, and listen, they're not wrong to say just because he was there, that doesn't automatically mean they're not wrong about that. I mean, that's absolutely true. But again, that thing that's gotten out to the whole world now, and like everybody reported on it and everybody talked about it. I mean, yeah, so there was that. Anyway. All right, guys. There are more questions to come from the likes of Femi, Trollmageddon, Matthew, R. Lee, and a few others. Actually, only about 10 more to go, but my voice is now completely fried. So we'll start off tomorrow's Q&A with getting to those questions. But for now, that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you, of course, to Christian Harloff for being here. Big thanks to the thousands of you guys in the live chat joining us. It's a lot of fun following through with all of your questions and all that kind of stuff in there. And of course, big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys very much for your support. All right, guys, that will do it for me. Make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow. My name is John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.